Welcome to another episode of the Palace Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
What's up, Palace Huddlers? Huddle up.
I couldn't muster anything there. It's
All
just
right.
huddle up.
DJ Moore over here. DJ Moore over here.
I guess
so enthusiastic.
I guess so. Man, where do you begin?
I mean, I'm in the festive spirit. I want Christmas to come early. Fire somebody.
I don't think that's going to be in your stocking, my
No.
man. It should have already happened. So we recorded a day later. Than we probably should have.
Yeah, but
I don't.
kind of hoping that maybe something would have happened today.
Yeah, we thought we would be breaking some kind of news on some changes that need to take place because you can't keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's being hinted. It's being hinted that changes are coming. Adam Schefter talked about the fact that Caleb Williams might not even be starting.
What?
Yeah. I mean, again,
That's the change?
it was a loose, off-the-cuff thing that he said on the McAfee show, and I could be just for clicks, but
I wonder how much of his stuff comes from actual reporting as opposed to just saying things that he thinks,
I'm sure.
which still should be informed by
yes,
inside information.
he had. Well, yes, but on top of that, he has a duty as one of the top NFL, news correspondents that he can't just shoot things out there without there being something behind it. I
Exactly.
would think.
Yeah. So if you're wondering, this is following the loss to the New England Patriots at home.
Yeah,
I mean, because I had to say it because this is starting to sound like every episode we do now.
pretty much. I think we had somebody. I had to go rewatch the game. I had something going on yesterday, so I wasn't able to watch it fully.
Good for you.
So I had to go rewatch it for the podcast, and someone was like, "Rob, just take the Arizona Cardinals podcast, rename it, put it out there. Don't even worry about it. It's going to be the same performance conversation that you're going to have. Plus, no one's going to care because you're doing as much as the head coach or the coaching staff is doing.
Probably
for the Bears.
more, to be honest. But a quick reference, and it's not a movie I know well. I certainly couldn't quote it or anything. But the theme of the movie, have you heard of Sliding Doors?
No.
Oh, man. Well, this woman, I believe, is running for like the train,
Okay.
and the doors slide and close.
I've been there.
Okay. And she just missed it by that 1 second.
Yep.
But then, and I don't remember exactly artistically how they did it, but they show her whole like day or week or even I don't know how long into the future if she caught the train versus
Okay.
if she did not. And for me, it's like that Hail Mary play.
That's when it all ended.
That game, they didn't really deserve to win. We talked about it, but it was right in their grasp. And you win it, you're 5-2. You beat a contender on the road. You probably don't lay an egg in Arizona. Who knows? Like, it's just crazy to me that play and that whole game is now like the embodiment of this losing mentality that they had. And prior to this is year 3 of Eberflus. Prior to that, whether there were wins or losses, I always felt the team like believed in themselves and wanted to put their best out there, even when they were the underdog or less talented team. Now, on paper, you should be the more talented team, although I think this week, backups playing all over the place did catch up to them a bit. But now it's the opposite. They look like they think that they are losers. They're playing like they believe they are losers. And that means you need some changes. And so far, none of that is seemingly coming.
I mean, that to me tells me you probably lost the locker room, right? Something we didn't think was going to happen this soon, right? They are 4-5, right? They are close to being 500. Had they won that game, right? Then we'd look at this game like, okay, it was a trap game. They were looking ahead to the Packers. Like, let's not look too much into it. But no, they played like crap. We've talked about it before. It's not just winning the game. It's how you win the game. Caleb Williams is playing bad. The offensive line is playing bad. I'll give DeAndre Swift credit because the kid just keeps going. Like, that guy is the only guy I see on offense consistently making plays. On defense, Jalen Johnson, obviously playing like he's been playing all year round. I'm good with him. But it's just like too many guys are not, as you said, like they don't seem interested in winning. As a soccer coach with kids, I constantly talk to them, guys, who wants it more? Like sometimes that's all it takes. You could want it more and not be as talented and win a game. And that's exactly what New England did.
Well, on this show, we have consistently, although there are moments where we might be critical, we have consistently been backers of Ryan Poles, but it's hard to separate what you're seeing out there from some of the key decisions and indecisions that he has made or not made. And I think we're going to have to talk about that on this episode. But one real quick thing about personnel. Coming into this season, their ideal starting five at O-line, I believe, was Braxton Jones at left tackle, Tevin Jenkins at left guard, Ryan Bates, the infamous, the Ryan Bates, who they believe is apparently headed to the Hall of Fame or something, at center. Right guard Nate Davis, right tackle Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
And Darnell Wright's only in year 2. But if you look at that whole group I just named, are any of them certainly better than like replacement level?
I would give Darnell Wright that stat.
On projection or on performance?
No, he's turned it around very much since the beginning of the year.
So one guy out of the 5 on your unit was maybe slightly above average. Only one.
Tevin Jenkins, when he's healthy, can be, but we weren't seeing it.
That's never happening. And this year he got off to a horrible start.
Yeah.
So that was your starting 5.
Yeah.
Yesterday, none of those players were out there. Jenkins started and then was gone very early.
Kramer.
And the rest was just throwing guys in. I mean, Ryan Bates was in, but he was playing guard.
Right.
And it looked it. I mean, I know you said Williams has been bad, and I would agree. He's missing throws. He has yet to throw a deep ball this whole season, I feel like, that looks anything like what we projected him coming out of college being able to do. But now, nothing seems right. There's no timing. The receivers are not ever open. They still forget that they have Cole Kmet on the team because the whole first half, he didn't get another target. So that was 6 straight quarters, no targets. And finally, I said to my son, it's got to happen here. And boom, 3 in a row, straight to him.
Yeah.
But when I talk about Ryan Poles, and I will say I had a similar thought, I was so excited, over the moon, that they were able to pair Odunze with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But Odunze doesn't look special right now. And the fact that it seems like it's common knowledge that you have to build from the trenches out, that missing on taking a offensive lineman just seems like a big mistake in retrospect. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of Chris Williams back in the day, Mark Colombo. Like, they've missed on early picks as well. And you can miss on early picks. I get that. But they haven't invested enough.
There wasn't anyone that really stands out to me off the top of my head that you would have taken over Odunze. I mean, Olufashanu was there, I believe, right? Like, that might have been the only guy that I can think of. How's
he playing for the Jets? I think he got moved into guard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been great for him, right? He's not looked like Joe Alt, who has looked fantastic for the Chargers. But the only way you're going to get Joe Alt is if you kept Justin Fields, traded down, and took him.
And I'm the one who brought up Odunze. It's not just that. Velus Jones in the 3rd. Could that have been a lineman that you have now developed over 3 years?
100%. I wrote an article about this.
Zach Pickens.
There were many guys
not showing up
that should have been taken over Velus Jones for the offensive line that would make this team look better right now. Ryan Poles swung and missed on that. Ryan Poles has swung and missed on multiple occasions. Most general managers do. He's made up for it in other areas too. But the fact that he has not addressed the offensive line enough. Look, Matt Eberflus's seat, it should be so hot that he can't sit down. But Ryan Poles' seat should be warming up right now.
Well, because if you're not going to make a move like firing Eberflus, I know they've never done it mid-season.
Fucking do it.
Stop. That has to stop. Because look, if you tell me that the Pittsburgh Steelers have never fired a coach mid-season, I would accept that.
Sure.
Because they have a long track record of success.
Yes.
And they've had coaches stay for decades basically with, like I said, with sustained success.
Let's count how many quarterbacks the Bears have had since
they've had three coaches.
Coward,
but you're not that. You're not that at all. You're like the laughing stock of the NFL in some ways. And I have a stat I'm going to share later that I think is just another indication that this goes much deeper than we actually think.
Yeah, it goes beyond the players. It's the coaches. I mean, it's an organizational standpoint. It's rinse and repeat. We talked about it already. They don't get the quarterback and the head coach. I mean, the quarterback and the head coach on the same playing field. Like, we did it with Trubisky with John Fox. Then John Fox is gone. Then you got Trubisky and Nagy. Then you keep Nagy for one extra year, and you bring in Justin Fields. Should have got rid of Nagy that year, right? Then bring in Justin Fields, even if you're keeping Ryan Pace, right? Or you move on from Ryan Pace, start all over again, and you get whatever quarterback that regime wants. Didn't work out that way. Okay, in our minds, we're like, okay, hindsight looks good because we got so much from Carolina. You saw Caleb Williams get drafted. Like, things were looking up. Again, you held on to Eberflus. I get it. He was only into his second year
of 5.
Thanks, McCaskies. Thanks, Trace Armstrong. Right? Like, I mean,
he negotiated and he gets a cut of that. So
I mean, you got him, you got Poles, you got Shane Waldron, all Armstrong guys. And I know a lot of people say, well, he represents a lot of the coaches in the NFL, so it's hard not to have that. But like, it just seems like there's this. Is nepotism the right word? I don't even know, but like where you're constantly going to the same well, and it's like, well, why do you worry about that? Who cares who the agent is? Bring in the best fucking guy to take on the task that you need them to take on.
I don't even know the answer to the question I'm about to ask. I'm not trying to stump you, and the answer might be 0. When was the last time the Bears hired a head coach who had head coaching experience?
Who had head coaching experience?
Coming into when they hired him,
John Fox.
That's true. Okay. Very forgettable.
Yeah.
And that did not work. And that did not work. But that may be it. And I don't know if it's because it's cheaper or what it is. But you wanted Jim Harbaugh.
All right, we're going to speed up on something that was in the outline because you brought this up and it segues into it.
You wanted Jim Harbaugh. Would things look different right now if Jim Harbaugh was running the operation?
Yes.
No doubt about it, right?
Yes. The Chargers look fantastic for the first time in I don't know how long.
And it was right there, and you had this promising rookie quarterback that you wanted to see take your organization to another place, and you didn't think pairing him with an offensive-minded coach would be a good idea. And maybe you could bring it up, and I know it had a lot of details, so maybe we can just kind of glaze over it. But the hit rate and success rate of not just good quarterbacks, but great quarterbacks seems to be connected to early in their careers having some continuity with quality coaching.
Yeah. Now we
already know that's not
shitty coaching, and now it's going to be going out the door again.
But I will say one promising thing about that later. But go ahead with your thing.
Okay, so this came out today. Mike Sando of The Athletic wrote an article. I think it's called The Pick Six, but I saw it through Kevin Fishbane of The Athletic also. In his article, he has little blurbs from other people, right? Other executives, other GMs, coaches, blah, 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 blah. And comments about the Chicago Bears. Their offense is so bad. End of quote. Another executive, the GM won't want to fire the coach unless the president is on board with that. And the president is not going to turn the reins over to a proven coach. End quote. Okay. Someone on Twitter said, hey, Fishbane, are you sure that there's not a typo in that? It seems a little off. Kevin Fishbane reiterates, not a typo, more. Executives around the league think a Bears structure featuring an empowered, engaged team president, Kevin Warren, all but rules out the possibility Chicago would seek established power coaches. There goes, and look, I don't want Bill Belichick, but there goes your Belichicks of the world. There goes your Harbaughs, right? Like, you're not even going to think about Harbaugh. Is it a Kevin Warren issue? No, it's a fucking McCaskey issue. They don't want guys who are going to come at them. They don't. We saw it, and look, I can't stand Olin Kreutz. I think that's pretty much well known that I think Olin Kreutz is a pain in the ass. But the feud between him and McCaskey, like, clearly McCaskey's afraid of Olin Kreutz. Like, why? Why? What's he going to do?
So what do you think is the reason for that?
They don't.
Ego?
Yes.
But ego over winning?
I don't think they care as much as they seem to want us to think they care.
Well, pre-show, I made the comment that as frustrating as it is and as bad as it looks, and the fact that they're not taking any immediate action is just like, to me, thumbing their nose at the angry fans. But that stadium's going to be full no matter what.
And that's the problem.
And that's the bottom line of it all. I mean, like you said,
fans are leaving early, but they've already paid.
They've already consumed. They've already paid for the parking.
Last calls, third quarter. So, they're not, getting any more alcohol sales in the fourth quarter anyway. I had a friend who was at the game this weekend. They left the beginning of the fourth quarter. I turned the game off at 4 minutes and 34 seconds left.
I wish I had that thought, because I was more thinking, I got to watch this. I got to watch. It felt like a punishment.
Yeah, no. And then, it's frustrating because we had so much hope and enthusiasm going into the off season, going into the season. The schedule was easy at the beginning of the year. Could you imagine if it was reversed? What would they be? 1-6?
Well, they played a little better earlier. I don't know.
Wait,
if
what
that
is this?
was
9 weeks. I can't even do math.
Oh,
1-8?
Maybe forfeits wouldn't have counted. I don't know. Yeah, ugly around the board. I know Bob called for more of this week's crappy history in Bears history. I don't have the exact thing, and they flashed it up on the screen, but they have not scored a touchdown in, I believe, 19 consecutive quarters.
That's correct.
And that goes all the way back to, they haven't had that level of ineptness or ineptitude since 2003 or something like that. So that's 2 decades. Right. That's 2 decades of football.
What was that, Duran?
I got another one for you here, and just going to quickly throw this out there. It ties into something we've been talking about and lots of debates have been about. But over the last 15 seasons, so let's go back to 2009, the 3 worst sacks per pass attempt percentages. The number 1 worst was Justin Fields in 2022, which I believe was year 1 of Eberflus.
Mm-hmm.
The second worst in a 15-year span is 13.3%. 2021, Justin Fields. Last year of Nagy, including that Cleveland game, which I want you to make a connection in a second. And the third worst is your quarterback, Caleb Williams, at 12.9% sacks per attempt. So Bears have number 1, number 2,
Chicago.
Number 1, number 2, and number 3 in a bad stat.
Good job.
And let's be honest. We're talking over 15 years. There are crap teams all over the NFL.
Yep.
And you're the crappiest of crap?
Yeah. Why? Because they never invest in the offensive line.
But that's different regimes. That's different coaches. That's different everything. Different quarterbacks.
They just don't do it. They had a 7th round pick as their starting left tackle when Jay Cutler was here, and they actually had a somewhat decent offense. Jamarcus Webb was the left tackle. Do you remember Cutler putting his shoulder into the guy because he doesn't fucking block?
I thought you were talking about who's our other guy?
Charles Leno?
Yeah, wasn't he 7th round?
He was also a 7th rounder.
But
I would take him over half the people they got now.
And Braxton Jones was a 5th and seemed to be a hit. But you're right. When did they draft Kyle Long? I think there have been times they've selected guys, but it's not frequently enough.
No. No, and then they don't reinvest. Look at I'm blanking on the guard who's now with Pittsburgh.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
James Daniels.
Yes.
James Daniels. The guy was a legit starting guard. He was young, very young.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles didn't want anything to do with him. He's playing very well. He's not great, but he's playing well for Pittsburgh. These are the things. I just want them. And look, he's got one. Ryan Poles isn't going anywhere. Matt Eberflus has to. Ryan Poles isn't going anywhere.
Do you remember, though, the year it was 2021, the offseason leading up to that year? We were, as a collective fan base, either certain that Nagy would be fired or asking and demanding that he be fired.
Yeah, and he was.
And they ran it back.
We had the similar situation last year with Eberflus.
And you said if they went 3-14 this season, which obviously they can't, the worst they can do is 4-13, and I think it's in play.
Yeah.
which would also, if they go 4-13,
Yeah.
that's what, an 11-game losing streak to end the season?
Congrats. After a 9-game losing
But
streak.
you said you didn't even think in that scenario that Eberflus would be fired.
And the reason wasn't that I didn't think he deserved it. It was I didn't trust the organization to fucking do it.
And at that time, you didn't know that he was possibly on a 5-year
I had
deal.
no clue.
So this is only year 3 of a 5-year deal. You have to eat that money and bring in who you think is the coach that's going to bring you somewhere and develop a quarterback that you have on a rookie deal. But already, and we mentioned it, 2021 Fields, there was his first game in Cleveland. A game like that can set you off for many, many games or even years to follow. You start seeing ghosts. Is that what we're seeing with Caleb Williams?
I think what we're seeing right now with Caleb Williams is the same thing we saw with Justin Fields, and I'm going to put blame on Matt Eberflus. I'm going to finish with this. We need to take a break.
Yeah, we do.
Matt Eberflus has coached the aggressiveness out of both of these guys, right? Look, Justin Fields struggled
Waldron has helped.
Sure, and Getsy. But Justin Fields struggled with anticipatory throws. Okay, he did. He struggled with anticipatory throws. It's not as much as something that I've seen as an issue with Caleb Williams outside of the last 2 games. The reason that I think it's happening, and the reason I think these guys are holding on the ball too long, one is because of horrible wide receiver route concepts that don't match timing-wise with the play that is going on behind the line of scrimmage, right? The quarterback takes the snap, does a 7-step drop. There should be someone to throw to. There isn't. That's not happening. He does a 5-step drop. There should be someone to throw to. It's not happening. Then he's trying to move it in the pocket, move out of the pocket. Then it collapses. Then he's taking a sack. Sure, he's holding the ball too long. But if there's no one to throw to, it's very difficult to do, right? However, there are times where there are close calls that he should be throwing. And I think we saw him do that a little bit in the beginning of the year. Now, I mean, he has had an interception in 3 weeks? But does it matter?
No.
We just saw the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold threw 3 interceptions. Guess what? They won the game. We just saw Jared Goff throw 5 interceptions against Houston. Guess what? They won the game. Caleb Williams throws no interceptions again. Guess what? They can't even score a touchdown. It's ridiculous what they are doing to these quarterbacks because they won't just let them play. It's like, look, and he's all about not having turnovers. No turnovers, no turnovers, no turnovers. Screw that. Tell your defense to get takeaways. Tell your offense to take risks. Make some goddamn plays.
I don't have it written down in my notes. Viewers, if you know, go ahead and say it in the comments. But I believe there was like a 3rd and 2 where DJ Moore must have run a 50-yard route or something. And I'm thinking, like, what schematically are you even thinking? And there was so much of that. And then you've said it many times. Why not move the pocket? Why not move the pocket? Yeah. They do a rollout. It looked beautiful. He hits Odunze. But then very late in the game, they start running these really stupid times where they're moving the pocket. There's one. They're on the short side of the field to the left. The whole line shifts there. There's only one receiver.
One receiver.
He's completely covered.
What are you doing?
What's the scheme?
No idea. Try to kill Caleb Williams. That's the name of the play.
They almost did it.
There's another situation. Gosh, we're going to take a break. I promise. There's another situation, though, that I'm watching this game live, and I'm like, oh, DeAndre Swift, 4-yard gain. DeAndre Swift, 6-yard gain. Oh, they're running the ball really well. DeAndre Swift, 5-yard gain. They moved the chains. I'm like, all right, that's 3 runs in a row. He's doing a good job. I'll be like, all right, I'll take another one. Boom, does another one. I'm like, okay, got to do play action here. No, what do? They run it again. He gets stuffed for a 2-yard loss.
I know.
Like, play action. You got to know when to use it.
To close out the half, which they haven't been good in, and we'll take a break. To close out the half, which they haven't been good offensively, defensively, any way you want to look at it. I put here 1:46 left in the half, no timeouts. What will they do? I think they hit a few plays, and then they hurry up to call a halfback draw.
Yes. And
what are you doing?
Somebody, I don't know if this is right or not because I didn't listen to all the press conferences. Somebody tried to say that Caleb checked into that, and I watched that play. If he checked into that, it was all verbal because there was literally no hand motions. There was no can. There was nothing. It was a snap, handoff.
Like they had a little something going, and clearly they needed something.
Yep.
And that just shut it all down.
But that's what we're seeing all the time. It's like they're making moves. They're moving the ball down the field, moving the ball down the field, moving the ball down the field. And then it's like either a stupid pre-snap penalty, which they're, I guess, leading the league or tied with the league leader in false start penalties, and they've not even played a full schedule yet, right?
They've had their bye. I thought they're supposed to run the hits principle. I think they brought the S to the front of the word.
The shits principle. You're right. All right, we're taking a break.
All right.
We got to take a break, guys. Please enjoy these ads, but before you do, please hit the subscribe button. You will be entered into a free giveaway for a free NFL jersey of your choice. I know the Bears suck. Maybe you got a favorite player on your fantasy team. You can get that jersey instead. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel, and once we hit 700 subscribers, thank you, Ted Lasso, we will give that jersey away. For now, please enjoy these ads.
We are back.
We're back.
The first half went long because it just became a rant about where the Bears are at, which is nowhere good. Thanks for listening to Hallis Huddle. We appreciate it. We did not mention our betting partner.
Yeah.
But basically bet against the Bears.
Bet against the Bears.
Use our promo code.
Yeah, signupexpert.com/huddle, and you'll find all the best odds to all the sports books in your region and all the best sign-up offers, especially for those after this election. Like I said, I know Missouri just passed. It's probably going to hit in January. Make sure if you're in Missouri and you're a Bears fan, you're listening to this. I don't know why you wouldn't be a Chiefs fan, but if you're listening to this, use that sign-up page. I know I sent it to my cousins, and they're not Bears fans, but they'll use it anyway. All right, we're going to start this part of the podcast with just a little segment here that came out from James Jones, who obviously is a former Green Bay Packer, so there might be a little bit of bias in here, but I kind of agree with him. So we'll see what Justin thinks here.
I have not seen this, but I will say it's kind of embarrassing that the Bears are now consistently part of national broadcasts about just being bad.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let me share my screen here.
Right now, as we stand, he's the worst first-round quarterback. And that's just the honest truth about it. Caleb Williams looked bad out there. However we want to slice it, however we want to dice it, however many plays we want to show of receivers not getting open, there's a lot of plays we can show where receivers are getting open. My man is not seeing what he's supposed to see. My man is taking sacks sometimes that he's not supposed to take. O-line is getting beat clearly sometimes to where ain't nothing he can do. But when it is something for him to do, make these simple throws, whether it's outside the pocket, whether it's inside the pocket, he's not making them. Right now, as we speak, he's the worst quarterback drafted in the first round. And that is not, that ain't no clickbait or nothing. Like, that is the truth. If you're watching the Chicago Bears play football, and you're watching Drake May and the Patriots play football, and you're watching Bo Nix play football, and you're watching Jaden Daniels play football, we are picking Caleb Williams last the way he is playing the quarterback spot. He is missing simple throws. He's not making plays outside the pocket. He's not making plays with his legs. All the stuff we've seen in college, he's not doing. Blame it on the dudes around him. Blame it on the offensive coordinator. Blame it on the O-line. Whatever you want to do. He's not playing well right now. And out of the rookies, he's playing the worst. That's it. And that's the bottom line. So at one point, we got to see some growth. I don't care if you're saying it's the coach, him or not. He's playing. The ball is in your hands. It's 3rd and 5. It's man-to-man every single time. Make a play. Make a throw. He's not. And out of all the rookies, it's the worst. It's the worst.
I agree with some of what he said.
I will say when I first saw this, like, not the clip, but like the headline, I thought he was saying worst first-round quarterback ever.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
So when I first went to go out and watch this, I was like, you're a fucking Packers fan, right? That's clearly not what he meant.
No, he means of this class. He means of this class. Now, I agree with quite a lot of what he said, but here's the difference. And when he said blame other people, you got to do a lot of that too.
Yes.
Because we saw, it wasn't, this comment came right after we saw him go against Drake May. Drake May didn't look great out there. He made a great throw on the first drive of the game. He threw a terrible interception where I don't know what he was looking at, what he was trying to do. It was awful.
Yeah.
But so many more of, I mean, I don't remember his stats. They weren't too impressive. But
it was
his touchdown pass,
84 yards.
His touchdown pass, I could have thrown that.
Yeah.
Schematically, they completely fooled the Bears, and he had a wide open player. How many times has Caleb Williams, had that kind of wide open player?
5.
Now, I think he missed some throws. Like, I can think of one off to the right to DJ Moore on like a 3rd and 4 or something. But DJ Moore hadn't even turned around and ran the route a little deeper than I think Williams was anticipating. It was a bad throw. But Drake May didn't have people in his face all over him every single snap.
So Daniel Jeremiah, I just listened to this before the podcast started. Otherwise, I would have shared this clip too. But Daniel Jeremiah was talking about when he was scouting Caleb Williams, he's not even throwing the ball the same way, right? And it's not like a mechanical issue. It's more like he's hesitating, right? And this, again, goes into the being ingrained to not throw interceptions, not turn the ball over. And it's, he doesn't have that quick whip. Like, it's not as coming out as fast as it was in the beginning or what it was in college. And he's sailing those balls. And he's sailing them left. He's sailing them right. Like, that's what's leading to his inaccuracies. I want to see a play caller. I want to see a head coach tell the front office to just sit down, shut up, let us get through the tough times, because it's going to happen, and get to a point where we can throw the ball the way we want to. Turnovers, 28 interceptions Peyton Manning threw in his rookie season. I don't care about the interceptions.
I don't even want to bring this guy up because I'm not a fan of him personally, and I don't think there's very many Bears fans who are. But Brett Favre is considered one of the greats of all time. He was a risk taker. Yeah. He was a gunslinger. Yes. Like, he threw the ball. I mean, to make an incredible throw, you have to have the bravery to have it be intercepted. You know what I mean? And you're not seeing that. He is hesitating. There are often times, I mean, the very first drive of the game, which I know we haven't talked much about the actual plays out there, but the very first drive of the game, before I knew any of what the outcome was going to be, my note says, take the easy throw. Sack instead of a check down on 2nd and 7, followed by an Odunze drop, and then Torrey Taylor's 13-yard punt. I think I could have turned it off then. It was a bad sign, but then again, I know the pattern of the Bears is start slow.
Yeah.
They've given up points first in every single game this season.
Yep. Yeah.
That's offense, that's defense, that's everything.
10 total points in the first quarter.
So this is getting tough to watch, and as you alluded to, and as the broadcast said, they have the toughest schedule left of any team in the NFL, and you're playing like one of the worst.
It's getting tough to watch, but at the same time, apparently, the offensive coordinator thinks it's funny. And if you haven't seen this, we're going to show it to you right now. This was on the sideline. Caleb Williams does not look happy.
So I don't like to. Sorry, let the sad music play. I don't like to analyze the sideline stuff, but I don't remember smiling very often during watching this game. No. And I certainly wouldn't be smiling if my paychecks depended on the outcome of the game. And whatever he's saying or smiling about, look at how it's being received by the person you're talking to.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so again, I don't like to do it, and I know people smile when they're nervous sometimes, or kind of
sure.
It's all
sure. I can,
but he shouldn't be nervous either.
That wasn't a nervous smile. I've been that person. When you're in an awkward situation and you're smiling just to smile, that was not that situation.
I'm saying what's awkward is if you're the offensive coordinator and you have no answers.
Yeah.
That's a little awkward.
Again, when you don't know how to call play action timely, when you don't know how to move the pocket in a way that makes sense, when you don't know during the Arizona game, okay, I'm not a big Dan Orlovsky fan. Okay, I'm not. But he pointed this out during the Arizona game. There was a play where Caleb Williams rolls out left. He's got 4 receivers. No, I'm sorry. He didn't even roll out. He's in the pocket. He's got 4 receivers within a 6-yard rectangular prism shape.
So 2 guys can guard all of them.
Arizona had 5 guys.
No, that's what I'm saying. But 2 would have been enough.
Yes. Who are you throwing to?
Nobody.
Why? Okay. I haven't seen the Getsy where two guys are hitting each other as often with the Waldron scheme. It has happened a couple times on crossing routes. But if you're going to scheme things open, one, you have to make sure there's a player that's going to be open when your quarterback gets to that set point. When he sets his feet and is ready to throw, someone needs to be open. Someone's route needs to be at the end. Whether they're open or not, that route needs to be over. And the route isn't ending, right? That route isn't ending. They're running a 50-yard route on a 2-yard, pass. Like,
right.
Why? That could be one route as long as your other 3 other routes are somewhat close. That's not happening either. It just doesn't make sense.
I don't have the actual quote, but I read some kind of like little just headline basically that was saying the New England defense was able to pick up several tips on what the Bears were trying to run.
You saw it on that one where they threw it to DJ Moore. I mean,
Yeah.
they read that perfectly.
Yeah, but here's the thing. New England's defense is not good.
No.
They had 9 sacks in yesterday's game. They had 8 sacks in the last 6 games leading up to that.
This was a 2-7 football team. They had the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. The only way that this game makes sense is if they are tanking the way that I said they should when I was on the episode with Bob, and I was joking, and it would never have crossed my mind to actually happen. That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now. Like, we got to make sure that they get,
Bears are closer.
We need
to
Carolina
they're
to get
closer
the
to the
better
number
record.
1 pick right now than they are to making.
Well,
the
they knew
playoffs.
Carolina won already, right? Like that. Maybe that's what it was.
I'm not going there, but I'm saying they are closer to the number 1 pick than a playoff berth.
Oh, 100%.
Here's another one for terrible Bears history. This is the first time, and at this time it says 6+ sacks in back-to-back games since 1993. That might have been Harbaugh back then.
Maybe
as quarterback.
Well,
That's how long
I know
that
Jay
goes.
Cutler had an 8-sack game.
Yeah, but back-to-back games of 6+.
Oh, back-to-back.
Back-to-back games of 6+. Because they gave up 9 this week, and how many last week? 6 or 7?
6.
6? That's unacceptable. And that's how you start getting a quarterback who has all this promise start to lose confidence, lose flow. We already said his timing is not right. It's not going to get better when he's being bombarded every single snap.
But the point is that the timing's not just on him, right? Like that's part of the problem is that the play calling isn't timed correctly either.
We remember week 2 in Houston. First half, they didn't seem to know what to do. But then second half, it's like just blitz every time.
Yep.
Blitz every time.
Yep.
And team after team after team has basically just copied that. And you as the Bears haven't said, let's counter this. Let's bring in extra help with tight ends and running backs where you don't even run routes, or at least you got to chip before you go out. There's not anything schematically showing me that they are adjusting to what the defenses are doing. And now you have defenses that aren't even good, because Arizona's defense was like 26th in the league. You would have thought they were the 85 Bears, the way the Bears looked on offense. I don't know, Rob. I don't know where we go from here.
Well, I have one more clip.
All right.
If I can get to it. All right, I'm not getting to it.
Third down conversions.
It's not coming up. Okay, basically, this was Jalen Johnson today on 670 The Score. He was asked about, are there people who are? I'm not actually quoting this to exact here. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically along the lines of, are there players on the team who work harder than others? Right? You see it everywhere. You have a job. There's some people that do just the bare minimum. There's some that go above and beyond. There's some that try to do as little as possible. He basically said, of course, right? And then he called out, he basically tried to use an analogy of, it was the Spiegel and Holmes show, and basically trying to say okay, well, if Spiegel's coming in, extra time and really trying to put the show on his back and da-da-da. And then you got Holmes who's like, yeah, I got to go pick up my daughter. And this happens every day. And there's one guy doing all the work and one guy not doing all the work. And, it stands out to everyone. I couldn't help but wonder if that was a reference to Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields. And I can't think that it is, because everything that I've heard and seen from Caleb Williams tells me he is a hard worker. So I don't know if it was a Tyreek Stevenson situation. I reached out to friend of the show, insider extraordinaire, Gary Ross, and asked him, what he thought with that comment. And his comment was, it's just a lot of players. So to me, that tells you lost the locker room. No one's wanting to work hard. The hits principle has failed. Now it's the shits principle. And I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, but I will tell you that Shane Waldron needs to be made an example of. They're hinting at changes. It better not be Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent. I'm sorry. Tyson Bagent did not do anything better than Justin Fields when he was in there.
Who's even thinking that?
Adam Schefter, apparently. There are fans out there that believe it. But my thinking is look.
But to do what?
He's not
make
going
a playoff
to
push
make a
with Bagent?
change. Right. That's not going to make a change.
Development matters. Now,
Exactly.
granted, I don't think the current staff is equipped to help him develop.
No.
So from that standpoint, maybe you'd get him out of there.
No.
But
My
biggest takeaway is a guy that we really, really like on this show, Ryan Poles, is now entering my mind as part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't think he's going anywhere after this season, but Eberflus has to go, despite everything that Bob and I talked about in the midweek show. Eberflus has to go. And right now, Shane Waldron needs to be the scapegoat. Get rid of him. Where do they go next? Look, you can go to Thomas Brown, right? Offensive passing game coordinator.
Called plays for Carolina.
I will say
You take that off your resume.
I will say they were not good. I think they were last in the NFL for offense. But he does have experience with Los Angeles, just like Waldron does. Another option would be Kerry Joseph, the quarterback's coach. I don't think he's called plays in his coaching career, but you might throw him in there. I do worry with Thomas Brown. Look, is the offensive passing coordinator the right answer when the offensive passing game isn't working? Probably not. But he does have the most experience, so I could see it going to Thomas Brown. Chris Beatty has not been in the NFL for very long, but he's the wide receivers coach, came from the Chargers. He was there for 3 years. He has plenty of collegiate experience. I wouldn't mind seeing him get him in a shot.
I mean,
something has
basically
to
what you're
change.
saying is at this point, you have to make a change just for the sake of trying something different.
Yes.
You can't just keep rolling out the same.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah. Doing the same thing
Yeah.
and expecting it to be different.
Try to fit a round peg into a square hole. That's where we're at with this team. And again, it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. When is it going to stop? When? Hire an abrasive coach. I don't care. I mean, look, Ben Johnson actually fits the demographic of what they like to hire.
Yeah,
in
another
coaches.
non-experienced coach.
Non-experienced coach. And I'd be okay with it. I know he's the hot name. He's proven himself drastically with Detroit, and he is the offense there, right? Because Dan Campbell's a defensive coach. I'm fine with that route, but at the same time, I don't want to just I don't know. I'm worried they're not even going to do that because they don't want to throw money at the guy.
So there was a rumor out there that, and he was a hot coaching prospect last year because of Detroit's success.
Yes.
That had already been in basically 2 years of sustained success. And there were many jobs available. I don't know if he took interviews, but he didn't obviously take any of those jobs. And there was a rumor that he wanted the Bears job that never opened up. Now, you see this. Does that change your mind? I mean, you start to just see that this organization is, I don't want to say cursed because that just sounds like it's out of anyone's control and it's some magical thing. But they're not showing that they know how to make any of the right moves to be successful on a consistent basis.
I have never been one of those, you got to sell the team. McCaskey's got to sell the team. I've never been one of those guys. But I told Gary when I was having my conversation with him today via text, I'm becoming one of those people. If they aren't willing to make changes because they're so hung up with their dumbass traditions that hasn't been relevant. Look, Virginia McCaskey, you're 101 years old. I wish you the best of health in the world, and some people want you dead. Okay? But the problem is that she's 101 years old, and she's in that mentality of, no, it has to be done this way because that's how my daddy did it. And guess what? Papa isn't here anymore. This is a whole new NFL. I guarantee you he would have changed this thing along the way.
She's 101 years old, and she's probably seen about 5 good Bears teams.
Yeah, do something different. Do something different. I don't understand.
I mean, I feel bad because it's been so long as a Bears fan, and very few like good memories of quality teams. A lot of bad, and this almost feels like the worst I've felt in a very long time.
15th worst winning percentage in the NFL historically. 15th worst winning percentage in the current NFL
and there was
Super Bowl era.
And then there was the whole the first year shouldn't count.
I was on that train.
I get that, but when did the excuses stop?
The excuses stopped. They stopped last year. And look, real quick, and then we can end the show.
All right, we'll end it.
Because I wrote an article about this for Bear Goggles also, right? Kevin O'Connell was hired in 2022. Look what he's doing for Minnesota Vikings. Look what he's doing for Sam Darnold. I know he had a bad game this week, but he's on pace for 32 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards passing. Sam fucking Darnold. Look at Mike McDaniel in Minnesota. I mean, in Miami. They have a winning record down there.
No. Miami?
Not this year.
Oh, okay.
Overall,
Okay.
since he's been there, he has a winning record down there.
Got it.
And the times that he struggled is when he doesn't have his quarterback. When Tua's in, they're a much better team, right? I want to say he's 22-20 overall. I don't know if they're winning right now because they're playing currently. Brian Dable. That was the name that I wanted, right?
I was just about to bring him
Name
up because
I wanted.
didn't know if you would.
The Giants have struggled.
They wanted to leave him in Germany, by the way. The fans. Yes.
Here's the thing. They have a talent issue, worse than the Bears do. He has a better winning percentage than Matt Eberflus. Everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, whoever that was hired in 2022 is doing better than Matt Eberflus.
Thought you were about to break into song.
Go back to the Matt Nagy hiring. I wanted Matt LaFleur. Now he's in Green Bay. Look what he's doing there. I could hire the damn coach better than these guys.
So I just want to say one thing to end the show on a surprisingly positive note.
I had in here, are there any positives? We didn't talk about it.
I couldn't find any until it just dawned on me now.
All right. This is how we're going to show.
There's
Positive
an idea that for a quarterback to really, really thrive, they need to, early in their career, have some continuity with good coaching to kind of establish themselves and learn the way of the league and then take off from there.
Yeah.
We've missed the boat on that for Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
We've missed it. But here's the thing. We just mentioned Ben Johnson, a guy I wouldn't mind seeing come here to coach. But let's not even say him specifically. But just look at Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Former number 1 overall pick. So there's that comparison to Caleb Williams. Now, his early returns were not good. To the point where people would almost want to put him in a bust type of category.
Yeah.
But over the last 3 seasons, when he's closer to an MVP candidate than he is to a bust.
Yeah.
And so I just want to still leave it out there that as bad as this has looked for Caleb Williams, and some of that's on him and a lot of it isn't, I still think he has the talent that made him worthy of being a number 1 pick. And that maybe there's someone out there, and I don't think it's Eberflus, and I don't think it's Waldron, and I'm not even sure it's Ryan Poles, but maybe there's someone out there that will be able to unlock that. And let's just hope it's with the Chicago Bears and not with another organization, because Goff was the number 1 pick for the Rams and is now having his MVP type performance with a different team with the Lions.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where we can be in a few years. I just don't know how we're going to get from where we are now to there and have any of our sanity left as Bears fans.
That just reminded me of something that I'm going to bring up on the midweek episode. For now, we are going to move on. And move on, we shall, to the Packers week.
We didn't even... that's
nope,
for you and Bob. That's for you and
yeah.
Bob, but man.
Yeah, but for now...
All right.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Claws up.
Claws up.